De speech van Donald Trump eerder vandaag. En dit is de kern van zijn buitenlandbeleid. Daarover sprak ik met Robert Kaplan. Hij is een Amerikaanse bestseller-auteur van inmiddels 17 boeken over het buitenlands beleid. En niet alleen dat, hij adviseerde president Clinton en ook president Obama op het gebied van buitenlandse kwesties. Voor zijn laatste boek, De verovering van de Rockies, reisde hij kriskras door Amerika en zag de armoede en de ellende van veel burgers. Vaak mensen die hun stem aan Trump gaven. Vanavond sprak ik met Robert Kaplan en hij keek met gemengde gevoelens naar de toespraak van de nieuwe president.
I thought that the speech by the newly elected president Donald Trump was populist, it was nationalist in a very stark way. It did not provide any assurance to America's historic allies in both Europe and Asia, which is unusual because normally in inaugural addresses the president reaches out to our friends and allies in our brother democracies around the world. This speech did nothing of the sort. This was an inward-looking speech. I know where it came from. I understand why President Trump was elected. I have seen the devastation in the interior United States on my own. But nevertheless, it was a speech that harked back to the America First isolationism of the 1930s, a time when it took 5 days to cross the Atlantic by ocean liner. Now we're in a world of cyberspace where the U.S. is interconnected integrally with the outside world, and so I was somewhat disturbed by this speech.
Now, Trump said in his inaugural address, "We defend other nations' borders while refusing to defend our own." What does this mean for his foreign policy?
Well, I think what that translates into, he's more interested in building a wall or something of the sort on the border between the United States and Mexico, and he's less interested in defending, say, the Baltic states, Poland, Ukraine, etc., against the aggression of Vladimir Putin's Russia. That's what it translates into.
Are you worried this could lead to an international conflict or even a military conflict?
What I'm worried about with the Trump administration as it begins is that we may get into an unnecessary conflict with China while at the same time be taken advantage of by Russia. Because I think the new president is notoriously naive about Russia and notoriously aggressive when it comes to China.
President Trump attacked the elite in Washington by saying they have done nothing for the people except enriching themselves. Was this a strong indictment of President Obama?
It was a very strong indictment. I thought it was too stark. One of the problems with the speech was he put many things in an apocalyptic way. The elite has done nothing. We're not protecting our border to the south. These are overstatements in the extreme. It's true, and I've seen it driving across America, that the two coasts are much richer than the interior continent. But solving these problems of poverty, of crime, of raising the manufacturing base, bringing good-paying manufacturing jobs back to the interior United States. These are very, very difficult problems to solve. They're complex, and there was no sense of the complexity in President Trump's speech.
Is there a possibility that you are completely wrong and that President Trump's presidency could be a huge success?
It's certainly possible, but even if that's true, it is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a process of years. And remember, the elite often criticized and looked down upon Ronald Reagan right after he was elected. They didn't consider him sophisticated or really knowledgeable about the world. But there is a big difference between Reagan and Trump, remember. Ronald Reagan had been a two-term governor of California. That's one of the most populous states in America, one of the most complex and bigger than most countries in the world, and he was a successful governor who had won the hearts and minds of not just Republicans but Democrats too. And Reagan appointed real middle-of-the-road, moderate realists to the top positions. James Baker, after all, was his chief of staff when he entered the White House. Trump, by contrast, has no public policy experience whatever. And some of his appointments, like General Michael Flynn as National Security Advisor, Steve Bannon as a senior advisor, are not the kind of moderate, pragmatic people that President Reagan appointed.
Very clear. Robert Kaplan in Albany, New York. Thank you so much for your time tonight.